But Jesus, now even though Jesus had great crowds and even though Jesus had great multitude, Jesus did not explain everything to everybody, because many times Jesus would go to the multitude and tell a parable, and then he would go to his disciples, and the disciples would say, "What meaneth this parable that you taught?" And then Jesus would explain it. Now you are given the insight of the explanation because you have the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and also the epistles that Paul brings, in which the mysteries and the secrets of the gospel begin to be expounded. And it is wonderful that we get the opportunity, the way the disciples did, is to hear the multifaceted mysteries and secrets that God was giving to them. Because see, when Jesus came along and he picked people to follow him, they were not ultra spiritual, they were not ultra educated. He picked a bunch of men who were just fishermen, like you have on different television shows, not tournament fishermen. These men caught fish for their livelihood. Matthew was a tax collector. Luke, who followed him, was a physician. You didn't have to be ultra spiritual to start with Jesus, but you at least at some point ought to want to change and learn more about him than you knew before. Are you still at a point that you want to know more about him than you knew before? Because if I'm correct, it's Jesus who called you. It's Jesus who saved you. It's Jesus who redeemed you. You didn't save yourself. It's Jesus that saved you. Can you say amen?
Amen.
So then why aren't we wanting to know more of his mysteries and more of his secrets? Because Jesus does not give them to the casual passerby. If you are casual about the Lord, then that's what you get, is casual Jesus.
That's right. Amen.
And yet it marvels my mind when you have the opportunity to find out more that we don't. And yet Jesus is with his disciples, and he's doing what we know is the Last Supper, but that they knew, it was Passover, and Jesus was about to be crucified. And now they go to the garden. Now they go to Gethsemane. Now do they go to this orchard of olive trees, the place where they grew olives, but they didn't really grow olives there for eating. Most of the olives that were grown there was so that they could be crushed and made into oil. At the pinnacle of their ripeness, they were plucked, and then they were to be pressed, and then they were to be plucked. You know that the olive started thinking, "Hey, I'm at my maximum point." And at the maximum point, then the caretaker would take it and then crush the olive, because there is more in the olive than what the olive even knows. There's more in you than what you even know. And sometimes you got to go through a place of pressing. Sometimes you got to go through a place of crushing before you come out to the other side and really get everything that God has for you.
Amen.